Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Today we're going to do some live coding in Ruby, and we're going to do some testing in RSpec. We're going to continue a program that I started writing last Thursday. And so I will share my screen and kind of describe what I've been working on. And what this is, it's just a plain Ruby program, not a Rails program, because I think when you strip away all that extra stuff from Rails, it's easier to convey the principles and stuff like that. So I'm going to open up these two things. Whoops. Where are we? Okay. So what this program is what's called a stemmer. So in natural language processing, which I hardly know anything about, but I recently learned that before the manipulation is done with the language that gets processed, the words get stemmed so they can be treated in an apples to apples kind of way. So you can see in these examples here, like anything that's plural gets depluralized, dogs gets changed to dog, and any of these suffixes or conjugations or anything like that just gets removed. And so I'm going to run this. Currently, all the tests pass. So let's look at the code. The code is just one object called word. And here we have these rules. Something that ends in IER gets changed to Y. So like happier gets changed to happy. Ing just gets changed to nothing. I mean, you can read these rules. And then here's how we're doing it. So if we look back at the tests, you can see that the method we're always calling here is stemmed. We expect dogs.stemmed to equal dog. And so here's the stemmed method. We're going through each of the rules. And again, the rules are expressed in the form of what we're going from and to. So rules.each, from, and to. We skip this one unless the okay. Oh, I see. All right, we're keeping track of which rules have already been applied. So if this rule has already been applied, then we skip it. That's maybe an opportunity to make the code clearer, because it took me a second to understand what that did. And then we're calling this becomes method, which after some refactoring that I did, this becomes method kind of, the word becomes maybe doesn't make that much sense anymore. So we might want to address that. But anyway, we take whatever it's from and change it to what it's supposed to be changed to. So we keep track of the fact that we've applied this rule. And then we delete the suffix. Oh, sorry. Value equals delete suffix from plus 2. Yeah, we take away the suffix and we add the new suffix. And then if it has any consecutive trailing characters, like running minus the ing will be RUNN. So when we get that, we need to chop off the extra in. Okay. So we might want to do some refactoring, but first, let's add some more examples just to kind of get into the flow. So let's think about this. For our word stemmer, what are some more kinds of words that we might want to make sure we stem correctly? Anybody have any ideas? I had the idea that maybe we could take an actual piece of text from online and try to stem it and see how good of a job it does. And that's how we can kind of assess our progress. So I'm going to do this.
Only thing I could think about was, the
Uh-huh.
superlative as in est, as in happiest to happy, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, expected happy, got happiest. Oh, sorry, Carl, can you say that again?
Something like mummified.
Your audio is hard to make out. Maybe you could type it into the chat. Okay. Mummified. Oh, that's an interesting word. Okay. Mummified. What should that get changed to? Just a mummy, maybe? Yeah, okay.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously I expect this to fail. Mm-hmm. Okay. But then what if we do this? Terrified should get changed to terror. And we got Terry. So how do we deal with that? I don't know.
Terrified should be terrify, isn't it? Not terror.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Well, does that mean mummified should be mummify?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, I made a mistake. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. I guess that was easy enough. I'm going to commit that. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up the Gettysburg Address. Okay. And I'm going to do this. Right now we have this word object and this word spec. I'm going to create a new one called sentence or passage. Okay. And I'll just copy the shell from here. Oops. I'm going to get rid of this comment that we don't need. Okay. And I'm going to run this test even though I know it won't pass. So it fails because there's no file called passage. Run that again. Now it doesn't fail. We don't have any tests yet. So I will add a test that just has this chunk of text. I'll actually just do this much because otherwise we won't be able to easily see it. Okay. All right, and this is a little hard to read. I'm going to see if I can original text. And here's where we can bring ChatGPT in the picture to help us. I'm going to say, replace my comment with the text with the stemmed text. I don't know. Let's see if it can figure it out. Okay. This seems wrong. Well, it seems like it at least contains an error. Because it doesn't seem like this should get stemmed to just THI. But let's see. Okay. Okay, well, I guess that is correct. So let's run this test. And it fails because we don't have an initializer. And I always just write enough code to make the failure message go away, not necessarily enough to make it pass. Okay, so undefined method stemmed for passage. Okay, so let's add it. Okay, now what does it say? Oh, this is a weird one. Expect is not available. Oh, I'm missing it. Okay, we'll just say it stems words. Okay. We expected this certain string and got nil. All right, now let's actually change it to work. So we want to loop through the words and stem each one. So we can probably do something like this. Value.split. Maybe we don't even need that. Value.split.each. No, map. Word.new word dot stemmed. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, uninitialized constant word, which makes sense because we're not requiring it. So let's do that. Okay, we're returning an array, which is obviously wrong. So let's do dot join. Okay, well, we need to have a space in our join. Okay, now it at least looks similar. One thing that I can see, the first thing we can see that's wrong is 4 is supposed to be lowercase. So that's easy enough to fix. Let's change word so it downcases the value. Sorry, 1 second. We somehow have gotten into an infinite loop Did the down case do that somehow? Apparently so. Okay. I'm going to try this. What if we apply the down casing here? Okay. For whatever reason, that worked.
Was was the down casing not working because of the text you're pushing in when you're checking the difference
I
from
don't
the
know.
applied rules and the from, I think, maybe. Maybe not.
Sorry, I don't understand.
So sorry. So you're adding like an array of characters that are pushed in from the what it used to be to what it is. And I guess like it's uppercase and one's now, and it's always downcase after. And that would cause a loop, I think.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I'm going to let that be because this works.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make everybody wait for my sluggish brain. Okay. So it looks like the only thing that's still wrong is continent doesn't get changed to contin. So let's add a case here. Continent. Contin. And I think actually some of our cases here might be wrong. But we'll address that in a minute. Oh, whoops, I meant to run the word tests. There we go. And we can change words, so it has a rule where ent gets changed to nothing. Okay. Okay. Let's commit that. And I always do a review like this before I commit. Okay, now let's have ChatGPT critique our work. Some stemmers might reduce it to HAPPI. Okay. Okay. Give me back my test file, but with everything corrected. Okay, and while that's doing that, I'm going to delete all this. Whoops. Copy this. I'm going to delete all these comments. Okay, and then I'll run word spec. Okay, and we're of course going to have to make some adjustments here. Okay. Happy. Wait. Happier should change to happy with an I. Happier. I'm just going to change all these to I. Okay, expected huggable with no E. Okay. Okay. If mummified. Okay. Oh. Okay. Mummified. Okay, so ified should change to I. There. Okay, and terrified should change to Terry. Wait. Oh, it should change to terrify, but we give it Terry. This is interesting. Mummified gets changed to mummy, but terrified gets changed to terrify. That seems inconsistent. I'm going to tell ChatGPT so. Seems inconsistent. And it kind of got stuck. Well, it's getting unstuck. Oh, network error. Okay. Regenerate. Okay. Wait. Mummy, terrify. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's
Mummy,
just repeating
terrify.
what it said before. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same thing. It's still the same thing. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
ChatGPT, you're dumb. I'm just gonna say it should be Terry. Okay, great. Okay, and now let's test passage. Okay, that still passes. Okay. Now let's take another passage from the Gettysburg Address and see how it does with that. Okay. You know, the Gettysburg Address doesn't have a lot of tricky words. But I guess whatever. I'm gonna grab this passage and paste that in. Second paragraph. And I don't know what we should expect. I'm just going to put it blank and let the test fail. And then I'm going to copy this. And then let's take a look at it and see how this looks. Well, engaged seems like it should not be engaged. You know what? Here's a way better way to do this. Let's just ask ChatGPT. Replace this with the properly stemmed passage.
Did I see a hyphenated word in that passage also?
I think maybe there is. Yeah, battlefield. Okay, replace the comments. It's interesting that ChatGPT is actually writing its own code to stem these words. Now we are in gag in a great civil war. Okay. Okay. So what we have is not quite right. We need engaged to become engag. We can add that case. Engaged to equal engag. Okay. Seems like that should be easy enough to add. Okay. All right, where's the next mistake? Oh, weird. Any should get changed to any with an I. Okay. So maybe that means any I suffix just gets changed. Sorry, any Y suffix gets changed to an I. Okay. Okay. We got off. Okay, there's a space after these periods here, but not here. That's weird. Let me look here. Oh, the dots aren't in the original. The dots are just because it's too long, apparently. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that part for right now. Okay, altogether should become altogether. So let's fix that one. Okay, so that just means any ER should become nothing. Okay, and proper should become prop. And it's surprising that that's not happening. Wait. No. Proper should not become prop. It should stay as proper. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we want to expect proper to stay as proper, but it doesn't. And I don't know the best way to fix that, because what are we going to do? Have a special case just for this word? Maybe. Why? Good question. My guess as to why is because prop is a different word. And, you know, if we had like, this is my prop that I'm going to use for my play, it's proper that I should use this prop, then that would get stemmed to it's prop that I should use this prop. And then it appears that it's the same word, even though it's not.
Can we have a look at the word.rb again, you know, the conditions that we had put in there? That to nothing, you know, ER to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we add that?
Because of altogether.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, that seems like kind of an artifact, like altogether, you know, the real case seems like it should be like a bigger gets changed to big or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show ChatGPT what we have for the tests. I'm gonna show what we have for our code. And then I'm gonna show it the test failure. And just based on that alone, I'm gonna see what it says. Usually it's smart enough to kind of figure out what to do. Is this ChatGPT 4? Because it seems like it's being really dumb. Yeah, I am on 4. Can we start defining nouns and adjectives, words? What do you mean by that exactly?
I think it's easier this way. I mean that we know that proper and the other word that we have there have the constitution of the word is probably to use the er at the end in proper. So we know that that's a noun. And the rule that you mentioned is based to adjectives, right? So I think that is a way to do this.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, proper is an adjective also. Like it's proper that we should do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe an exception list for words.
Yeah, perhaps. Let's see what ChatGPT said in response to what I pasted to it. Oh yeah, saying you can add a list of exceptions to your stemmer. Ha! I apologize for the oversight. We didn't even say anything to it. That's kind of funny. Okay. How about let's just add proper to a list of exceptions to the ER rule. Okay. Now we're going to have to make a non-trivial modification to the word class. And oh, maybe not. Okay, hang on a second. ER proper. Okay. Exceptions. Okay. And where is this getting used? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, let's do something like this, but a little bit different. Okay, so we're saying skip this if the rule has already been applied. But I'm going to change this so it's a little bit clearer. Okay, and then I'm going to add a new method called rule already applied. Okay. And I'm going to actually take off proper. We'll deal with that later because right now we're just doing refactoring in preparation for making this change. And I want to keep the refactoring separate from the behavior change. Okay, and we did change passage, so I'm actually going to commit that separately. Okay. Add new passage. Okay, now we just have this change. Oh no, that's more than I intended to commit. Okay. Well, I made a mistake there, but it's not a huge deal, so I'll just commit it. Okay. So we made this clear. Next, if rule already applied from. And now we want to say next if I'm going to say this, accepted from rule from yes. Okay. Accepted from rule. How do we know if it's accepted from the rule? Okay, I'm going to copy this even though I'm not sure I want to use this. Okay. Exceptions include original value. Original value. Okay, I find this a little bit hard to understand. We should say from. Okay, to make it hopefully easier for me to understand, I'm going to bring exceptions into the picture. Oh, I see. So the key is what we're changing it from. The key is the suffix. Yeah, instead of from, I should say suffix everywhere. All right, so I'm going to undo everything back to the way it was a second ago. And I'm going to change all the instances of from to suffix. No. I'm going to call it original suffix, maybe. Original suffix and replacement suffix. Does that seem good? Original suffix and new suffix. Original suffix and replacement suffix.
Well, if you're using suffix in both arguments, you're back to from and to, right?
Yeah, but the difference is the presence of the word suffix, which makes it a little clearer. Because if it's just from and to, it's like from what and to what.
Argue that original suffix and is fine, but isn't the moving to not having a suffix?
Right, I do want to change that. Original suffix. I'll try new suffix and see how I like that. I don't want to do
My
a search.
question is,
Yeah.
aren't we getting rid of the suffix? So isn't calling it new suffix misleading?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe we should call it suffix replacement because sometimes the suffix replacement is a different suffix, but sometimes the suffix replacement is just nothing. That seems
sounds
better, right? Okay, let's see if everything still passes. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, rename from and to original suffix and replace, no, suffix replacement. Okay. Okay, now we can maybe bring some of these things back into the picture. Okay, this seems a little bit hard for me to understand because it maybe feels kind of backwards. It's like, well, proper is accepted from the ER rule. Maybe that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to say next if accepted from rule, original suffix. Okay. And yeah, I'll just grab this from before. Okay, exceptions. I'm going to try to clarify this a little bit. Exceptions for suffix equals exceptions original suffix. And we can do that like this. Okay, exceptions. Okay. All right, I think this can be made clear, but I'm going to see if this works. First of all, does this even run? Yeah, it does. Okay, that works, but I never trust when something works on the first try. I'm going to comment this out to make sure it fails when that's absent. Okay. Okay, so that works, but let's take a step back and assess all this code and see if we can't make it better. I'm sure we can. Okay, add exception for proper. Okay. So this becomes method. It's kind of weird. It made sense in the past, but now that the code has changed so much, it no longer makes so much sense. What does this method actually do?
It removes this changes
Replaces?
suffix. It stems.
Sorry, multiple people were talking. Jan, go ahead.
I said replaces or replace.
Okay. And then I don't know who the other person who was talking was.
Yeah, I think replace is fine. Replace suffix maybe so that we can get rid of the suffix in the argument name. But notice something
Okay.
like replace suffix.
Okay. Yes. And I'm trying to express everything in a declarative style. So I'm gonna maybe say, I am not crazy about this with suffix replaced. Okay, we go through the rules and we skip this rule if it's already been applied. And why do we even have that? Why are we even keeping track? Well, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that question in a second. Okay, so I understand that. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to commit just that. Okay, and to answer my own question, the reason we're keeping track of the rules is because this object is used recursively. First, we apply a rule, and if that rule had any effect, then we perform the stemming on the word we perform the stemming on the result. Otherwise we decide that we're done. Applied rules plus value. Okay, anyway. That fixes the becomes method. Are we happy with this stuff? Accepted from rule. This accepted from rule method I find a little bit hard to understand. I'm trying to decide if maybe I want a rule class, so then this code can, this logic can be moved there. You know what? I think maybe I do. Let's at least try it. Let's see how it feels. Okay. So here, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Def rules rules.map. No, we're gonna have to call this something different. Call this suffix replacements. Suffix replacements.map. Suffix replacement. And then we'll say rule.new suffix replacement. Okay. And then we'll say rules.each. And if I run the test right now, this will fail horribly. Yeah. Okay, uninitialized constant word rule. So let's fix that first of all. Okay, wrong number of arguments. And by the way, it's entirely possible that we'll do all this work and then decide this is even worse and we'll throw it all away. But I at least want to see how it feels. No implicit conversion of rule into string on line 65. Okay. Okay, so let's change this to rule dot original suffix. I think that's what we want. Okay, undefined blah, blah, blah rule. Okay. Okay, with suffix replaced, all we need now is just rule. Okay, and this is on line 39. Okay, oh, yeah, and here we can just do rules.each do rule. And I already know that we're going to want to do rule here and rule here. I certainly like this code better. Okay, 67. Applied rules. I think we can just do rule here. Okay, and we want to change this to rule.original suffix and rule.suffix replacement. Okay, so we'll probably get an error, of course, about suffix replacement. Yep. So let's change that. Oh, things are going to get weird now. Yeah, I don't like that. What can we call this instead? Maybe we can call it specification. Okay. The rule has a specification. I think that makes sense. Okay, and now it's misbehaving. That's interesting. And I think that might be because the tracking of the application of the rules is no longer working correctly. Okay. Very interesting. All right, let's look over what we've done and see where a mistake might have been made. The rules method certainly seems fine. Stemmed. We go through the rules. We skip it if the rule's already been applied, or if, oh, this is weird, accepted from rule. Let's take a closer look at this. We want the suffix. We want the original suffix, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's see if that gets us anything different. No, okay. And let's check rule already applied also. That's certainly wrong. Okay. Oh, you know what? We can't like send. Okay, we can't like send the rules. This is, yeah, I don't know how to put it into words, but this is wrong. Instead of applied rules, let's do applied rule suffixes. Applied rules gets changed to applied rule suffixes. Applied rule suffixes. Okay. And then here, I think that's what we want. I'll be surprised if this works, but let's see. No, it still doesn't work. Okay, what I usually do in these situations, rather than try to find what the issue is, I just blow everything away and start over more carefully. So let's do that. Now, obviously, this should run. All right. Let's still create a file called rule. But here, let's change this. Let's call this rule specifications. And then where we say this, let's change this to rule specifications. Okay, and does that pass? Yes. All right, and here we can do rule equals rule.new original suffix replacement. Okay, and that doesn't pass because it doesn't know anything about a class called rule. So let's fix that. Okay, wrong number of arguments, not surprising. And here we want original suffix and suffix replacement. Okay, and that passes. I'm going to commit that much. That way we won't lose that progress. And I usually keep these to an hour, but I'm going to go just a little bit longer because I want to get to the end of this little refactoring. If anybody has to drop off, no problem. Okay. So then maybe let's just change the with suffix replaced part. We'll change original suffix and suffix replacement to just rule. We'll change this to rule.original suffix. This too. Okay, and this of course won't pass. But it failed for a surprising reason. Oh, I forgot to do that. Okay. Okay, undefined method, original suffix. So let's do add a reader, original suffix, suffix replacement. See if that does it. Okay. And then I'm going to commit that. And even though we're redoing work, how much nicer is this than just staring at the code and trying to figure out what went wrong? Refactoring. Okay. Rule already applied. Let's try to change that. So let's pass rule there. See if that still works. It does. Let's change accepted from rule. See if that still passes. And it does. Okay. So let's look at what we just did. We just replaced original suffix with rule. And I think, well, at least this rule already applied rule. I find that easier to understand. Okay. Refactoring. And then I think we can change this. We can change this rule specifications thing. We can do def rules. Change that to map. And we can do rules.each. Rule. And that, in my opinion, makes this chunk easier to read. Okay, and that still passes. So I'm going to commit that. Okay. So let's see how much sense we think this makes. Rules.each do rule. That's easy enough to understand. Next, if rule already applied, rule. Next, if accepted from rule, rule. That seems kind of weird. It's like, what are we asking? We're asking if this rule is accepted from the rule. That doesn't make much sense. What is the thing that would be accepted from the rule? It's the...
Yeah, sorry. I think it would make sense to move the exception logic into the rule object now that it's there. So you could ask the rule, does this apply? Is this word, does this word apply to, do you apply to this word? See what I mean?
That thought occurred to me. And maybe I agree and maybe I don't. I'm not sure yet. first I want to get clear in my own head, at least, what are we potentially accepting from the rule? Is it
Yeah.
the original
what is
word?
what is the point of this object?
Sorry?
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I was
Oh, it's
asking,
okay.
what is the point of the rule class?
What is the point of the rule class?
Yes.
Good
If we
question.
were to write tests for the rule, what would they be?
I think the point of the rule class is to provide abstraction for the idea of a rule, because before we were dealing with original suffix and suffix replacement as a pair as a pair all over the place. But what's a pair of the original suffix and the suffix replacement called? That's called a rule. So it's easier to deal with a rule than to have to look at original suffix and suffix replacement and have to think in your head, oh yeah, that's a rule. So that to me is the purpose of the rule class.
So it's mostly a data structure.
Yeah, at least currently. If we do something like move that logic into the rule, then that may change. But primarily, rule exists as a layer of abstraction over the what you might call the rule specification. And you know what? This isn't related to dealing with this, but I'm just realizing this right now. Rule specifications should probably really go in the rule class. And then this rules method should go there also. Call it all.
And then the exceptions as well.
Yes, although if I do that right now, it'll break the code. So I'm waiting just a moment to do that. Okay, and then instead of rules, we can do rule.all.each. I forgot to make it a class method. Okay. Yeah. All right, then we'll deal with exception shortly. Okay. Yeah, so here, so we can do this. And by the way, I think the exceptions, it might be nice if we can have that just as part of the rule specifications, but we'll deal with that down the road. Exceptions. Okay, I think I can do this if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and it feels a little bit funny for Word to be reaching into rule and getting these exceptions. Carl, maybe it does indeed make sense to move this into rule. But first, let me commit this. So we moved exceptions. I'm just going to keep saying refactoring. Okay. All right, now we can return our attention to this weirdness where we say accepted from rule, rule. Rule applies to Word. Maybe. Yeah, it does kind of feel weird to ask if it's accepted. I don't know. All right, hang on a second. Let me ask this question again. When we ask if it's accepted from the rule, what is the thing that's accepted from the rule or not? Is it the original word or is it the current value? Because we start with the original word and then we apply rules and the word gets changed and changed until the rules don't change it anymore. So we start with the original word and then we have these intermediate steps and then we have the result. And what's being accepted from the rule? Is it the original word or is it one of these intermediate forms? And it seems like it only makes sense to accept the original word from the rule. Because like, well, no, I don't know. Let's say we started with properly. Properly should end up as proper and not prop. And if we only asked if the original word was accepted from the rule, properly would become prop. So the thing that's accepted from the rule is not the original word, but the current value. Yeah. Yeah, Carl.
I think it's both cases. I think it depends, because proper is an example of a word where the original word is a special case that would be an exception. But in other cases, you'd get to it like you just said, or?
Yeah, and I think that's accounted for by what I said. So like the original word, when I say it's not the original word that's being accepted, it's the current value that's being accepted. On the first iteration, the current value does happen to be the original word. So the original word is still covered. Okay, so why is it that we're passing in rule to accepted from rule? What is that needed for? It's just needed for the original suffix. Oh, and then we're including the original value. Yeah, so, okay, let's do this. First, let's just do this. Whoops. Oh, no, we don't want original value. Sorry. We want value. And I might change these names, but okay, let's see if that even works. Okay, it does work. So we could have, we have this value instance variable. We could put that here, but to me, it seems more clear if we put it here, because then it's clear that we're asking if this value is accepted from this rule. And I think somebody suggested like asking if it applies rather than if it's accepted. I think that makes sense. So I'm going to change this. Rule applies. Rule applies. Let's see if that passes still. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh, yeah. All right, so if there are no exceptions, then the rule does apply. Return true unless exceptions for suffix. Huh, I got it wrong again somehow. Okay. Let me just undo. Whoops. Since this is apparently trickier than I thought, let me commit what I have working so far. Okay. Oh, I flipped this, but I didn't flip this. Next, unless applies, rule applies. Okay. Let's see if that works. It does. Okay. Okay, for some reason I feel compelled to flip this. Next unless rule applies, next if rule already applied. Okay. Okay, I'm going to commit that. And I think we're almost done. Okay, rule applies. So can we do this? Can we say rule dot applies? Oh, can we even do it up here? Next unless rule dot applies like that. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. Wow. All right. I like that. Let's commit that. Okay. Rule already applied. Well, maybe we'll save this for next time, but I imagine we could do like rule dot already applied, something like that. And then it would be like symmetrical with this or consistent with that. And then maybe we can even make this nicer somehow. Anyway, I think that's all I want to do for today. Any comments or anything we want to discuss regarding what we looked at today?
There's
know,
one
wh-
thing. Oh, sorry, Jan. You want to say something?
Yeah, what's going to ask was, what's the end game? What are you hoping to achieve with this?
With the stemming?
Yes.
Well, I mean, for one, it's just a pedagogical exercise. It's not really for anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had to pick something where we could build a command line program rather than a full web application. And it had to be
Understood.
something that was like meaty enough, Yeah. Okay, somebody else was saying something at the same time as Sanjit too.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I've played quite a lot with stemming back in the day, and I used to rely on an open source library called Snowball, and they have a pretty interesting list of stemming examples. So instead of looking for sentences that could be interesting, well, obviously those were. So, but if you need more examples, you can always fetch the whole files of tests that they provide, and you have plenty of examples, such as the proper that we've encountered and other things.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks. I'll take a look at that. Okay. Yeah, just a side note, I've been trying to come up with like some testing classes that I could teach. I'm trying to come up with specifically a one-day class that happens in person somewhere in the world, and maybe I travel around and do these classes. But this is maybe a candidate. I could see it maybe being a good exercise. Like I demonstrate something myself, and then I turn it over to the students, and you guys do some of this testing and refactoring and stuff like that. Because it's like part of testing is the nuts and bolts of RSpec and all that, but that's not really the point. It's like, why do we do testing in the first place? A big reason is so that we can do all this refactoring. And so I don't know what that class would be. Maybe that's a testing refactoring class. I don't know. Any comments on this? I'm just kind of brainstorming. Sanjit, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I think like testing, especially using RSpec and that sort of thing. I think a 1-day session will be useful. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep noodling on that. Anything else before we go? All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming, and I will see you
Thanks.
next time.
See you. Bye.